You know what nobody talks about with advisors running dinner seminars? It's not the cost, it's not the logistics, it's the feeling. That moment when you're driving to another Tuesday night dinner and you're thinking, how much longer can I do this? The ROI is shrinking, the conversion rate is dropping, and every month you're spending more to get less. If that's where you are right now, this video is for you because I'm going to show you why the seminar model is getting harder, why your first attempt at virtual probably failed, and what actually works for advisors making this transition today. Here's what I want to cover. First, I'm going to break down the real economics of what's happening with seminars and why the results keep getting worse. Then I'll explain why virtual selling failed for almost everyone who tried it during COVID and why 2020 has nothing to do with what's possible today. I'll walk you through the credibility gap that most advisors figure out too late. The real reason going virtual feels so hard for advisors who sold face to face their entire career. And then I'll give you the honest answer to the question we hear on almost every call when we're speaking with advisors who want to make this transition. And that is, do I have to give up seminars entirely? The short answer is no, but what I'm going to show you might change what you want to do about it. Now, let me tell you what we're hearing from advisors right now. We spoke with a 25-year veteran who's spending $14,000 to $24,000 a month on dinner seminars. 2 runs a month, 7 to 12,000 each. His wife attends every single one. She's exhausted. Q4 was horrible because he goes to clients' homes instead of having an office, and every prospect told him the same thing. Family's coming over. The house isn't ready. He tried hiring a sub advisor as well to scale, but he had to let him go and wasted significant money on that strategy. 25 years in the business, and he told us he's behind the curve. He doesn't think he can sustain this for another 10 to 20 years, and his wife is not in the entire time we're discussing this. Another advisor ran 8 seminars in a single year, zero ROI across all of them. And here's what the last one looked like: back to back Tuesday and Thursday dinners, 34 people one night, 28 the next, 62 attendees total, 14 initial appointments booked, 2 canceled. The rest all fell apart. She told us she asked one of the attendees what she hoped to get from the evening, and the answer: getting a good meal. And then there's the 45-year veteran who turned to his son on our call and said, how many seminars have we done lately that we didn't make any money from? He described seminars as dying off, said he's looking for the new revolution. These aren't isolated cases. Here's what the seminar model actually cost when you add it all up. $8,000 to $24,000 between the dinners, the venue, the marketing to fill the room, evenings consumed by home visits or event logistics, your spouse's energy, and your family's time. A Q4 dead zone where nobody wants to meet, prospects who are fired up for 2 nights and then go cold because you can't get them back into your office or back on your calendar fast enough. And if you want to scale, you need a sub advisor, which almost never works because you can't replicate yourself. And here's the reframe that most advisors miss: the problem isn't that seminars are bad. Seminars work. The problem is dependency. If that's your only predictable acquisition channel, you don't own a system. You're riding a treadmill. And treadmills don't get easier as you get older, do they? So, why are the results getting worse then? It's not just the costs. There's a bigger shift happening, and most advisors don't see it until it's too late. Baby boomers built the seminar model. They grew up with dinner events, in person presentations, face to face relationship building. That demographic responded to seminars for decades, and it worked. But the audience is shifting. More and more, the people showing up to your seminars are Gen X, and Gen Xers have a fundamentally different preference. They'd rather get on a Zoom and work with you virtually. They don't need the dinner, they don't need the handshake. They want efficiency. One advisor put it perfectly: baby boomers are coming to seminars, Gen Xers won't. So as you shift into the next generation, you have to adapt your marketing. And here's what that means for your business right now. Gen X prospects will show up to your seminar for the free dinner, but then they slip through the cracks in the typical face to face follow up cadence. You can't get into their home. They cancel the meeting, they go cold. Not because they weren't interested, because the delivery method didn't match their preference. Think about that. You're spending $14,000 on a dinner, generating interest, and then losing the younger, often wealthier prospect because your follow up process doesn't work for them. If you had a virtual approach, even as a supplement, you'd capture those Gen X prospects on the same seminar spend. You'd increase your conversion rate without spending another dollar on marketing. So the economics are getting harder and the demographics are shifting. And I know what some of you are thinking right now. I already tried virtual. It didn't work. Let me address that directly. If you tried virtual selling during COVID, you're not alone. Almost every experienced advisor we talk to has this story. They were forced onto Zoom. They tried to do what they've always done, just on a screen, and it didn't work. The connection wasn't there. The close rate dropped. They went back to an in person meeting as fast as they possibly could. And now they carry this residual belief that virtual doesn't work. They know intellectually that the world is moving digital, but emotionally, they associate virtual with that failure. One advisor told us he had zero success with virtual during COVID. A $12 million producer told us, I have not done any virtual at all. The only time was during COVID. Hated it. A 43-year advisor said, I don't want to become a dinosaur. Even the ones who recognize the shift still feel the sting of that first failed attempt. Here's what actually happened in 2020. You had Zoom, and that's it. No branded funnels that pre educate your prospects before they ever get on the call. No AI powered follow up system. No CRM tracking pipeline and engagement. No forecaster tool that reflects their financial reality back to them the instant the meeting begins. No proven virtual sales process connected to the marketing that you're running. You were doing a kitchen table pitch on a screen. That's not virtual selling, that's just a bad Zoom meeting. The technology stack that makes virtual work didn't exist for you in 2020. So your failure wasn't a failure of virtual, it was a failure of infrastructure. That distinction matters because the advisors who understand it are the ones making the transition successfully today. But the technology is only a part of the equation. Even with the right tools in place, going virtual is harder than most advisors expect. And the reason has nothing to do with the leads or marketing. You see, when you sell face to face, your presence does the work. Your handshake, your eye contact, the physical authority of being in the room, the prospect committed to travel to see you, which is itself a demonstration of trust. Your office, your printed materials, your appearance, all of these are what I call tokens of trust, deliberate and unconscious cues that build credibility before you even open your mouth. When you go virtual, every single one of those disappears. And here's the feeling that nobody names. You get on Zoom and you feel lost. You can't connect the way you used to. You don't know how to demonstrate credibility through a screen. The tools you relied on for 20 years don't translate. And when you feel uncertain, the prospect feels it too. That's the virtual credibility gap. And it's the real reason going virtual is so hard for advisors like you. So, how do you close that gap? It's not about becoming a better closer. You already know how to close. It's about engineering the environment. A real virtual system has four components. Number one, product integrated marketing and branding. Not generic leads, a branded solution to a specific problem that pre educates the prospect before they ever talk to you. When they book a call, they already see you as the person who solves their problem. Number two, a proven virtual sales system. Not a figure it out on Zoom yourself, but a structured process connected to how those prospects were generated. Camera setup, Zoom presence, presentation framework, every piece built for virtual, not adapted from in person. Number three, a community of aligned producers, not isolation. You're learning from people doing the same thing at the same stage, facing the same challenges. And number four, coaching and accountability. Not here are your leads, good luck. But someone checking in, someone helping you adapt, someone whose success depends on your success. And there's one more piece that most advisors don't think about until it's too late. When you sell face to face, your credibility walks into the room with you. But when a virtual prospect wants to look you up before the call, what do they find? For most seminar advisors, the answer is nothing. No branded website, no professional profile, no digital proof of expertise. Maybe a bare bones LinkedIn page that you set up in 2014 and never touched. But that's typically about it. We solve this with our annuity attraction brands. You become a licensed affiliate of an established brand. That means when a prospect wants to look you up, you can point them to a professional branded site with your profile on it. You're not building a brand from scratch now. You're representing one that already has credibility, content, and trust built in for you to leverage. Virtual selling isn't harder, it's just different. And when you have the right system, the right environment, and the right digital presence, your close rate doesn't go down. For most seminar advisors who install a proven virtual system, it actually goes up because prospects come in problem aware and focused on implementing a solution with you more than you've ever seen from a dinner seminar. So now you're thinking, okay, I get it. Virtual is possible, but does this mean I have to give up seminars entirely? No. And let me be clear about that. Some advisors go fully virtual and never look back. Some add virtual while keeping seminars. Some use virtual to fill their pipeline during seminar off seasons. Very few who were successful at seminars abandon them completely. The real question isn't virtual or seminars. The question is, what's the right mix for your situation? If you love seminars and they're still producing, keep doing them, but add virtual as another channel so you're not depending on one thing. If seminars are burning you out and the ROI is declining, you now have a real alternative. Not the failed Zoom experiment from 2020, but an actual system. And here's what most seminar advisors don't realize. When you install a virtual system, it doesn't just give you a new channel, it makes your existing seminar business more valuable. All those prospects who came to your dinner, got fired up, and then went cold because you couldn't get back into their home, you can reactivate them virtually. That dead pipeline becomes immediate revenue with zero additional ad spend. Now, if your IMO is telling you virtual doesn't work, understand why they're saying that. The large IMOs out there have built their entire infrastructure around seminars. They compensate top producers to fly out and run seminars with their newer agents. That's their model. And when you ask about virtual, they don't have an answer. So they tell you it doesn't work. But that doesn't mean virtual doesn't work. It means they haven't built a system to make it work. Let me show you what this looks like when it's working. See, Mike went from 19 million to 103 million by going all in on virtual. Mark, a 28-year veteran, is now doing over 20 million a year with a branded virtual approach. We scaled ourselves from 0 to 50 million a year in annuity production in just 2 years, exclusively running a proven virtual marketing and sales system. These aren't hypotheticals. These are advisors who made the transition from face to face to virtual. They didn't have to give up who they are. They learned a new skill set, plugged into a system, and let the system do the heavy lifting. So here's how to think about where you fall. Go fully virtual if you're done with events, you want location independence, and you're ready to scale beyond your local market. Or your seminar ROI has been declining for more than a year. Go hybrid if seminars still produce for you, but you want to diversify. You want to capture the Gen X prospects you're losing, or you want to fill your off season pipeline. Keep seminars only if you're in a market where they crush it. You genuinely enjoy the in person interaction and the economics still work for you. But even if you stay with seminars, the world is moving, and having the option is better than not having it. The seminar grind doesn't have to be your only path. Virtual isn't about abandoning what got you here, it's about building a system that works alongside it or replaces the parts that aren't working for you anymore. Now, I talked about tokens of trust earlier, the unconscious cues that build credibility face to face and disappear online. If you want to understand exactly why your in person process doesn't translate to Zoom and what to replace it with, I made a full video, so go ahead and watch that one next. And if what I've described in this video sounds like the system you've been looking for, the link to book a call with my team is in the description. See you in the next one.